As another season of anime ends and the next begins, we'll take the time to break down what fall 2022 had to offer anime fans. As usual, I went over the season at the start to see what I'd watch and skip, and while failing to accurately guess the outcome of summer, this time I can safely say this season was packed with bangers that made it not only the best season I've seen in a while, but the best season this year. Would I say this is an all-time top 5 season for me? Maybe. The defining factor will be whether or not the rest of To Your Eternity's second season will maintain a rating of 8. There's a lot to discuss here at the knockoff Crunchyroll Awards, so let's get into new and returning categories. Starting off, a trend can be a general direction in which something changes. When I think of something that stood out about anime this season, one thing comes to mind immediately. It had gore. This time around for anime like Reincarnated as a Sword, blood. Eminence in Shadow, blood. Bleach, blood. Chainsaw Man, do I even need to say it? Obviously blood. It may not be a trend that sticks around, but I'm happy for a season of anime that doesn't coddle us. I hope the producers, licensors, studios, whoever is making the rules have that takeaway that it's okay to show what's happening and that it isn't frightening or scarring to the viewers. The third season of Mob Psycho has been one of those shows I feel like is either being quietly watched or everyone's waiting to binge it. No one's talking about it, or the appreciation is being drowned out by fans arguing over other anime of the season. I actually wrote that part before it was announced that this is the finale of the anime, and seeing this sentiment change. For me, watching Mob Psycho, I couldn't help but praise how it seems to succeed every time it tries something. It has unique animation, manages to juggle being serious and funny, and has a cast of characters with depth that no show this season can compete with. The ending of an anime can make or break the lasting feelings amongst the community. If it's done poorly, it becomes the butt of jokes, and if done well, lives in infamy where fans refuse to even discuss it, with the worry being ruining somebody else's experience. Mob Psycho's ending was excellent, wrapping up all the loose narratives by getting across every character's feelings to one another and developing an emotional, bittersweet conclusion to a show for many was one of their firsts. Mob Psycho is the most well-rounded anime of the fall 2022 season and will be missed. Shinobi no Itaki was the worst anime this season. I can't even say it was okay, it was just bad. The show tries to do too many things and doesn't get any of them right. The supporting cast is all female, but the show doesn't want to fully commit to the harem trope. The main character is supposed to be this complex person that struggles with becoming part of the shinobi society, and instead comes off as boring by not really making any of the choices himself. The MC's rival is meant to contrast, similar to something like Sasuke to Naruto. Rather, it's just a dollar store villain. The show attempts to shroud certain story elements and the shinobi power system. However, instead of these things coming off as mysterious, it just feels like they were added without much thought. I gave Shinobi no Itaki chance after chance to be a decent anime, and can honestly say it's not worth your time when there are so many better shows this season and in previous ones. Unlike many previous seasons, this one definitely outdid itself with more than just one solid isekai. Eminence in Shadow, Villainous, and Reincarnated as Sword can all be argued for being number one, and yet only one shall be crowned. Reincarnated as a Sword was the best isekai of the season. This anime managed to take the concept of a person becoming a sword in another world, something I had very little faith in, and make a show worth watching. Fran is such a cute, wholesome character that you sometimes forget about the sad things of her past, and then a dark moment reminds us of the realities of the world. Shisho makes for an interesting character that takes on a different perspective of the overpowered main character trope, instead being a teacher, an important parental figure that lends his overwhelming powers to Fran. The main characters give you a reason to care, while the other isekai shows sometimes struggle to do this. This for me was a breath of originality in a genre where it's so easy to copy the recipe of other isekai to a T. Reincarnated as a Sword is deserving of this award. With the second season already announced, I will admit I'm concerned with if the story can deliver much more than it already did with the season 1 peak. That's a question to be answered down the road and not here, and hopefully it does deliver. Sometimes the protagonist of an anime is immediately great, and other times you have a character that needs time to develop. Fushi began in the first season of To Your Eternity as a blank slate, slowly taking in the knowledge and experiences different people had to offer. Seeing this character struggling with the loss of friends, and after rejecting it for as long as possible, Accepting the destiny of saving humanity from the knockers has been such a sad, beautiful, and inspiring viewing experience. Fushi is a character not human and yet encapsulates everything it means to be one. While there is much left to the second season, as of the end of fall 2022, Fushi has been the best protagonist to me. Yuhava, or Yuhabaha, has been a character of little screen time, but the moments we see him have been the most chilling times of the season. The antagonists that evoke the most fear are the ones that can't be reasoned with, perform deeds that defy basic morality, and have no compassion even to allies. We barely know anything about him. The expectations he's created have been pretty clear, however. Everyone is a tool for the goal of complete destruction of the Soul Society. Not all surprises are good, and that was especially the case for More Than a Married Couple, but not lovers. I can't tell if I just hate triangle, rivalry, love, polygon, romance anime, or whatever you want to call it. The concept just feels poorly executed all the time. I expected an average show and was surprised with becoming irrationally angry per usual as characters stumble around without a single thought inside their head. And of course, if that wasn't enough to tilt me off the face of the planet, the ending of the anime was ambiguous enough that I didn't know which girl was chosen. Should I have expected more from a studio with the name Studio Mother? No. And maybe in the future I might need to, since they also did the anime Ari Ferrerta, which was even worse than the usual hot trash of isekai we get. The only good thing about this anime for me was Watanabe developing and realizing her feelings. Other than that, this was just a cheap knockoff of Love and Lies, with just more ecchi. In my tier list of fall 2022, I said I'm the villainess, so I'm taming the final boss. Looks like a copy of My Next Life as a Villainess, and I'll admit it here. I was wrong. This was a very wholesome watch and felt like a meshing of isekai with classic stories like Beauty and the Beast and Snow White, but from a different perspective. I appreciate the supporting characters not being there to fawn over Eileen, and everyone having their own aspirations. The main romance between the two main characters felt like that of a blossoming love, and if I were doing an award for the best romance of the season, it would have received that as well. Bleach 1000 Year Blood War has really been something great. Going into the season, I was a bit worried since in summer the second season of Devil is a Part-Timer was such a letdown. This was not the case with the long-awaited return of Bleach that held me captive for much of the season and only lost some interest towards the slow but very necessary lore development towards the end. Seeing many well-established Bleach characters significantly struggling against the enemy is such a new experience after seeing their power levels beforehand, and that's been such a delight. Was I the biggest Bleach fan before this? Not really, but I think this turned me into one. Animation that stayed true to the original, a shonen story with stakes and brilliant fights that cared more about telling a story than being just visually appealing. These reasons are why Bleach 1000 Year Blood War was the best anime of the season, and I'll be putting out a video later with a comparison. Chainsaw Man is the most overrated and overhyped anime this season. Now I've already seen some videos come out from other YouTubers talking about the same thing, but saying it's disappointing, and there's this dumb petition started to remake the anime. These sentiments I have to disagree with. Chainsaw Man is a really good anime, but the unreasonable hype has led fans, some maybe not all, believing that the anime isn't a masterpiece instantly like they expected, and that makes it a failure to them. Sure, there are valid reasons to be disappointed if you've read the manga beforehand, as can be said for anything with source material. The expectations based on hype is the fault of those hyping it up beforehand, and those that anticipate something with absolutely no knowledge of it, not the show itself. Chainsaw Man's first season slowly ramps up into delivering on some of the promises it made at the beginning. I think where the main disappointment towards the season comes from is that it doesn't convincingly explain to us why Denji's character goals have not really been explored. All in all, I look forward to a second season. If it gets locked in purgatory for years like many other shows, then that's when I'll really be disappointed. Fall 2022 was a great season of anime with so many titles that we could enjoy. I was going to try and watch a lot less in fall compared to summer, but with so many satisfying shows that just wasn't possible. I didn't want to miss out on any of the shows that were airing. I hope this was enjoyable and the choices for the awards are something you can agree with. If so, hit the like button to push it into the algorithm. If you disagree, take to the comment section to flame me on one of the awards. If there was a category you'd like to see added in a future seasonal award video, let me know, and I'll put some thought into it. The upcoming videos for me should be a tier list of winter 2023 and a comparison of Bleach and Chainsaw Man, since so much of the fall season was consumed with the debate between the two. So if you're not already subscribed, hit that button.